I'm going to teach you ideal gases, which has a lot of chemistry in it, which means then you will start studying chemistry from me because you will hate your current teacher, Mr. Numan. Okay. So the thing is that I hope Sir Numan has taught you about things like, dekho, magnesium is Mg and it has a mass number of 24. Okay. Yeah. Transfer. Now, what basically any mass number means is, those who do not know chemistry, who don't take it, that this is the total mass of an atom, which means that it is proton and neutron number together. Okay. Then this 24 means that it is the mass of 1 mole. So mole is a unit of amount of substance of Mg, which is magnesium. Okay, so अगर कोई और भी element हो, जैसे oxygen, 16 होता है ना, so 16 means that is the 1 mole of oxygen.
So why are we going
now? Some of अब ये मजबूरी है ना, physics में आ जाती है chemistry. Okay. Now, on the periodic table. So Raza, you don't take chemistry?
Sir, I dropped it just now.
बस समझ लो कि मुसीबत पड़ गई. Now, okay, so this is the most stable isotope of any element. Just Mg24 is the most stable isotope of Mg. And finally, it means that it is 24 times hydrogen, because hydrogen is just 1. Okay. Now, before we go into detail of this chapter, I just want to know, I want to tell you there's some prerequisites of this chapter. So हम पहले prereqs देख लेंगे इसके. So those who have taken chemistry in either O levels or A levels, they would know already. Those who don't, वो देख लो. एक unit था unified. Okay, let me write it here. Unified atomic mass. इसको हम लिखते हैं 1U से, and it has a value 1.66 times 10 raised to a minus 27 kg. ये हमने physics में AS में पढ़ा था, last topic. Now the question is, where does this really come from? So this is basically the value. This value is 1/12 mass of carbon 12 atom. So if you calculate the mass of carbon 12 and you make it into 12 parts, so one of those parts is 1.66 times 10 raised to minus 27. That is why this is a constant value. ठीक है मेरे बच्चों? Now a little bit of chemistry as well. Okay. And the first thing you guys need to know is that in 1 mole of anything really, there are 6.023 times 10 raised to power 23 particles. and that is generally called the Avogadro's number. ठीक है? Usually हम इसको लिखते हैं NA से, ऐसे. तो यहाँ मैं लिखता हूँ Avogadro's number. Now there are two ways of finding moles. So ways
We
of
have to find moles.
yes, very simple moles. ऐसा वाला नहीं, equation से ही निकालनी, बस simple.
Okay.
So moles हम लिखते हैं small n से, और अगर तुम लोगों को पता है कि किसी भी चीज में total number of particles क्या है, divided by Avogadro's number. So this is the total particles and this is the Avogadro's constant. And this is moles. Number of moles. ठीक है? Is it clear, बच्चों? Another way of finding moles is by dividing mass of anything in grams divided by the molar mass. इसको केमिस्ट्री में MR और AR जो भी तुम बोल सकते हो, ठीक है? So एक फॉर्मूला आ गया N/Na और एक आ गया M/mR. Please remember this. अब ये मोलर मास होता क्या, जो हमने ऊपर लिखा है 24, 16, 23, ठीक है? Is it clear मेरे बच्चों? अब इसका एक एग्जांपल करते हैं ताकि तुम लोगों को आ जाए. I will teach this a bit slowly because this is a very technical sort of a chapter, because it has chemistry, which I hate.
You hate chemistry as well?
Yes, absolutely. Also the chemistry teachers in general.
And teachers. Why teachers?
Because
I thought Sir Naman is your friend.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
I thought you were
the
besties.
day he started teaching chemistry, I started hating him.
So he's your brother from another mother.
Yes, he is my brother, but doesn't mean that I hate my brother or I don't hate him. All abnormal people teach chemistry. That is the fact. देख लेना अपने स्कूल में देख लेना. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Sakina, is it true?
Yes.
Okay. Determine the total number of particles of helium-4 2. चलो जल्दी से निकालो.
Answer, what is the third word? 200 grams of helium is compressed?
Compressed in a cylinder. Determine the total number of particles in helium-4 2.
Got it.
You must hate this chapter then.
Yes, this is the worst chapter in physics. Yes, sure. चल जल्दी से number of particles निकालो.
Four point 5 to 10 raised to power 25.
इतनी जल्दी निकाल लिया. Come on. Okay, so what he did was, first of all, he knew that the mass is given, so you need to use the mass equation. So number of moles would be M/mR. The mass is already in grams, so we don't need to change it. And the MR of this is 4. So he got to know that there are 75 moles of gas in the compressed cylinder. Okay. Then what he did was, because n related, because we need to find number of particles, which is n upon Na as well. To find the number of particles, we have to multiply the moles with Avogadro's number. So 75 times 6.023 times 10 raised to power 23, which gave us the total number of particles of gas, which is 4.5 times 10 raised to power 25. Is it clear, मेरे बच्चों? Please let me know. बस इतना ही केमिस्ट्री करनी है, इससे ऊपर हमारी केमिस्ट्री खत्म. All right, is it clear, मेरे बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
Now, अब तुम लोगों को दुनिया की इंटरेस्टिंग चीज मैं बताने लगा. So, whenever we deal with any gases, we consider them to be an ideal gas. Ideal gas की अभी हम लिखेंगे भी कि क्या properties होती हैं. No gas in normal conditions act as an ideal gas, but in certain conditions we can actually accept them as ideal gases. Now, 3 equations हमने बचपन में सीखी थी in O levels. First was through Boyle's law, which said that pressure is inversely proportional to volume if temperature is constant. Then we learned that pressure is directly proportional to temperature when volume is constant. Also, we happen to learn that temperature is directly proportional to volume in case that pressure is constant. ये हमने O levels में सीखा था. All right. So, if we combine all these equations, then we know that pressure is directly proportional to temperature and inversely proportional to volume. So, this is the equation of an ideal gas. Ideal gas is a gas which follows this proportion. In simple words, ठीक है? अब देखो, the moment we are going to see that there is a proportionality sign, we got to remove it. And if we remove it, then the pressure equals to, let's write a constant, because we've got to introduce a constant, and that will be T upon V. Okay, so wait, K is a constant. So we can write that pressure times volume upon T is equal to this K, which is a constant. And ये constant क्या है? ये मजेदार बात है, because you need to understand that in chemistry we learned that this constant is equal to number of moles times R. Now what is this? So अभी हम यहाँ लिखते हैं, N is the moles, R is the molar gas constant. Yes?
K is the constant now.
Yes, but
And
K is
R
equal
is
to NR. K is equal to NR, and this NR means number of moles, R means molar gas constant. A molar gas constant की value जो है, it is 8.31 G. तुम्हें तो बड़ा पता है भाई. K minus 1, K is the Kelvin. ठीक है. अच्छा, अब कितनी मजेदार बात है. ये एक chemistry की equation. This is generally used in chemistry. Also अब physics में use होगी, but this is not a real constant. This is constant, and this is why chemistry is all fake. Because now I'm going to tell you what physics has told us. So according to the real equation, which was derived by Mr. Boltzmann, who is a physicist, not a chemist, he has said that actually PV upon T is equal to N and K. Now let me just give you what exactly this is. Okay? This N is the number of particles, because actually physically we can see the particles, and K is the Boltzmann constant, which is actually the real constant which he gave. तो हमने फिर chemistry वाली equation moles के हिसाब से derive की थी. Now Boltzmann constant की value बच्चों बड़ी जरूरी याद करना. it is 1.38 times 10 raised to power 23 minus, ठीक है, इसका वो लिख लेना यूनिट्स, ठीक है, ये आगे तुम लोगों के पास k की वैल्यू याद रखना. Now this needs to be remembered, ठीक है, ये भूलनी नहीं है बात. So which means that actually we can compare that nr is equal to nk, और इससे भी हम moles और number of particles find कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. So ये याद रखना, there are two equations. So first equation, depending on what type of data is given, so PV equals to nRT, and the other equation is PV is equal to nKT. So ये दो equations हैं, दोनों depend करेगा which type of data is given to you in the question, we'll use it. ठीक है, is it clear? That what is an ideal gas? So question आ गया, they say what is an ideal gas? So हम लिखेंगे इसका आंसर, और ये बार बार वो पूछेगा. So आंसर है इसका an ideal gas follows, कोई भी इक्वेशन लिख दो, या लिख दो PV over T equals to K, where now you have to explain that P is pressure, T is temperature, and this temperature is fixed temperature in kelvins only, do not put in Celsius, and V is the volume, or K is constant, ठीक है. So basically you guys need to remember this is the answer. ये 2 mark के लिए आएगा. First लिखना, first mark is for writing ideal gas follows the equation PV over T equals to K, and the other mark is to explain the symbols. If you do not explain the symbols, you're done.
What is
So ये
T?
लिख लो शाबाश. T is the temperature in Kelvin.
No, sir. P.
P is pressure. ठीक है. Any questions? अच्छा. Anything that you did not understand, please let me know. अच्छा जी. Something to remember again. ठीक है, यहाँ से हम कुछ assumptions लिखेंगे, इसका भी question आएगा, और ऐसे आएगा that there are total 5 assumptions of an ideal gas. The examiner can give you any 2 or 3 of them, and he will ask you the other 2 or 3. ये ऐसे ही होगा. So you need to learn this by heart. Unfortunately, अब पहली चीज हमने लिखनी है that the volume of an ideal gas particle itself is negligible compared to the volume of the container. So the particle, a single particle will be very, very small with respect to the container's volume. Number 2. They have no intermolecular forces between them. So that is the second point. Third assumption is the collision of an ideal gas particles
Elastic.
are perfectly elastic. Elastic in AS means that they do not lose their kinetic energy. Fourth point, time of collision is negligible compared to time interval between collisions. Is traveling from this end to collide with another particle here. So the time it takes to go from here to here should be large enough that when it hits and come back, the collision time is negligible between them. ये बात समझ आ गई? So they touch for a very short time, but they travel for a very long time. ठीक है?
So wait, could you repeat that?
Which means that if they're traveling a distance of 10 kilometers to hit a particle at another end, but when they hit, they only connect with each other for 0.00001 second, right? So they take like 10 hours and collide for 0.001 second only. So that means that the time collision is negligible compared to their traveling time. Understood?
Yes, sir.
And fourth point is, at any given time, there must be enough particles to apply statistical approximations. So you can apply math to them without feeling it is going to or there are very few number of particles. There should be many particles. Okay, is it clear, मेरे बच्चों? You लिख लो, then I'll show you what type of questions are going to come from these two. ओके बच्चों, तो जिनको कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पढ़ने का शौक है वो इस पॉइंट को समझने के लिए गूगल पे जाएं और मैक्सवेल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को देख सकते हैं. लेकिन it's not required, it's not part of a syllabus, but if you like to read about physics, which I'm sure you don't, so कर लें. Up, let's look at the type of questions that they're going to ask you when ever. Wait.
अच्छा इसके अंदर उसको मतलब अल्फाबेटिकली राइजर कुछ ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप ठीक है तो मैं यहाँ से इसको कर रहा हूँ बाहर उसके बाद एक पैटर्न स्थानीय बच्चों का नाम है उसमें एक सिंबल उस टाइम में बच्चों के नाम सब्जेक्ट्स वगैरह कुछ ठीक है अच्छा उसके बाद फिर ये दो काम करो ठीक है इसको अल्फाबेटिक पे रहते हैं जैसे एम के बाद वो आना चाहिए तो उसके बाद ये एक यहाँ पे टैब बना के उसके अंदर सब बच्चों के नाम जितने भी नीचे टैब्स हैं तो वो सिंपल नाम लिखना बल्कि नाम तुम्हारा स्कोर नंबर है इंसान होना चाहिए उनके नंबर सेट करते हैं
So here comes the first question. So they're asking you in this question, what is meant by an ideal gas? कौन बताएगा? Lisa बताएगी, Lisa.
An ideal gas follows the PV divided by T equals K equation, where P is pressure, T is temperature in Kelvin, V is for volume, and K is constant. Isn't it?
Very good.
Thank you.
She just read her notebook, which is very good. Now, so question number 9 है, याद रखना. फिर हम इसका आंसर चेक करेंगे. अब आ जाओ नेक्स्ट पे कि कहाँ पे वो आपको पूछेगा about the 4 assumptions or 5 assumptions. Now, for 1 mark, like he said, what is meant by an ideal gas? In this question, you only need to tell them that it follows an equation PV upon T equals to K. No need to explain the symbols. ठीक है? 15, 9, 15 हो गया. अब आगे चलो. Okay. Now it says an ideal gas is assumed to consist of atoms and molecules that behave as hard identical surface that in continuous motion undergo elastic collisions. ठीक है? State 2 further assumptions. Now he has given you one assumption. कौन सी वाली? That the collision is perfectly elastic. तो कौन सी दो लिखेंगे और बताओ जरा. Out of 4, any 2.
There are no intermolecular forces between them.
Yes.
The volume of an ideal gas particle is negligible.
Negligible compared to what?
The volume of the container, sorry.
Very good. Complete definition should be given. So 9 or 15 or 20. अब हम इसका आंसर चेक करें. So you see that they say that obeys PV equals to constant times T. ठीक है? PV and T explained all values of P and T and N आपने लिखना है कि ये जो constant है वो constant लिखना है. So PV T explain किया और N को constant लिखा 3 marks मिल गए. समझ आ रही है? Now what am I trying to explain here? Suppose that you write only PV equals to T and you forget to explain this. So this mark, it is M1, A1 and A1. So M1 is the method mark and 2 are accuracy marks. If you only give method mark and do not write accuracies, it will be considered wrong. If you explain everything, but you don't write PV is equal to constant over T, so that would give you no mark at all because you haven't explained M1. So be very careful about that. ये इसलिए तुम लोगों को tricky इसलिए बार-बार समझा रहा हूँ that you will end up losing marks. अब 15 check करते हैं. So for 1 mark, he has only written obeys equation PVT equals to constant. बस खत्म कहानी. ठीक है? Now फिर कौन सा था? 20 था. 20. अब उसने लिखा है all of it. Time of collision negligible. No intermolecular forces, random motion, large number of molecules, approximation करने के लिए total volume negligible compared to volume, average mean separation, large particle size 0. और ये उन्होंने size बताया कि the molecule size should be small enough compared to the container of the gas. ठीक है? Is it clear बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अब हम जाएंगे कुछ और चीजें यहाँ पे लिखने के लिए। 19 पे जाते हैं। So who's going to tell me what is Avogadro's constant?
So 6.00102 times 10 to the
No, what is meant by meant? They don't want the value of it. They've already given you data. I'm asking what is meant by Avogadro's constant.
The ratio of number to particles to moles.
Number of particles in 1 mole of gas. समझ आ रही है?
जी.
Okay. अब बताओ. इसी तरह when they ask you what is exactly the mole, एक mole का मतलब क्या है? So we are going to write that 1 mole is the same number of particles that there are in 12 grams of carbon 12. ठीक है? यहाँ पे अब मैं लिख देता हूँ ताकि तुम लोग बोलो. 1 mole. Same number of particles in 12 grams of carbon 12 atoms is equal to a mole. समझ आ गई है बच्चों? Now they will keep asking these definitions, so we make sure that you always remember this. अब हम करेंगे क्वेश्चन. PV is equal to nRT और nKT से related. तो क्वेश्चन लिखने की बारी आई. Let's write question 1. So it says helium gas in a liter container has a pressure of 1 atmosphere, ठीक है? And a temperature of 26.85 degree Celsius. So it says calculate part A, number of total atoms present at this temperature. B, the volume that contains 1 mole of helium-4 atom. ठीक है? चलो. अच्छा हाँ, मैंने तुम लोगों को छोटी डेटा दे दूं. 1 liter is equal to 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. 1 atmosphere pressure is equal to 0.0 times 10 raised to a 5 pascals. And to change Celsius into kelvins, you got to add this to 273. So 26.85 plus 273 ये हमने O levels में सीखा हुआ है. It equal to 300 Kelvin. So हमें हमेशा Kelvin में टेम्परेचर लेना है. जल्दी से फाइंड करो, शाबाश.
Excuse me, sir.
चलो बच्चों बताओ. You guys are so slow. Answers.
मंडे को वहां से लेकिन ये बता वो मैंने कहती हैं उसको ऑर्डर में गया और बाकी उसको
No one has an answer. Why? Mamin? Sakina? बसाम तुम तो बहुत तेज थे केमिस्ट्री में. क्या हुआ तुम्हारे साथ?
सर मैं
सारा
पूछ रहा हूँ इधर नहीं होना चाहिए था हमें.
भाई देखो तुम लोग. What do they need? They need total number of atoms, which means they need n. So the equation that is related to n is PV equals to nKT. So we're going to use this. Pressure कितना है? 1.0 times 10 raised to power 5. Volume कितना है? 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. n निकालना है. Boltzmann constant is 1.38 times 10 raised to a minus 23, and the temperature is 300. As simple as that. So you have to check what is he asking and use the right equation for it. So n here on my calculator was 2.4 times 10 raised to power 22 particles. Is it clear, bachcho? Now in the next question, what is he asking? Moles. Volume, and they have given moles. So automatically I should understand I have to use the chemistry equation nRT then. So pressure कितना है? 1.0 times 10 raised to 5. Volume कितना है? Volume हमने निकालना है. N कितना है? 1 mole है तो 1. This is what 8.31 K की value, R की value, और time temperature कितना है? 300. So volume is going to be 0.025 meter cube. So the idea behind this is that whatever data set is given, you use that equation. Is it clear, bachcho? If you look at the data correctly, you will then be able to do these questions. Otherwise, you will be pretty much stuck with so many equations. Okay, any questions now? Okay, chalo. So that is it. Lisa will post. Lisa is my favorite student from now on because she posts all the recordings. So Lisa will post it and have fun.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz, Allah Hafiz.